It's the Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by ANZ Home Loans for financial well-beings.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of another Real Estate Breakfast, and we are talking property, of course, 7 days a week, including right across your weekend. Nice to be into a Saturday, as heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts and Amazon. Yes, another very busy real estate weekend. Saturday, it is the very first day of June today. And I want to talk about the population growth in Queensland because it is something we are going to be talking about with our next guest. As we know, the Queensland population is continuing to grow, and it comes from three sources, which includes natural increase, international migration, and interstate migration. Now, natural population growth occurs when the births outnumber the deaths, adding about 261,000 people in the next decade due to longer life expectancies and new generations. International migration, if you have a look at that for Queensland, that is rebounding from the COVID-19 dip, which is expected to average 27,000 new residents annually. And then, of course, there's the interstate migration, which saw a surge during the pandemic, and that is going to continue steadily. So over the next decade, Queensland's population growth will be composed of 30% natural increase, 30% internal arrivals, and 40% international migration. So very interesting just to look at some of those numbers for a state that is definitely growing. And joining us this morning from Queensland is Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty. He is on the Fraser Coast there in Hervey Bay. And a very good morning to you, Scott.
Yeah, good morning, Craig. How are you, mate? It's another day in paradise, I must say.
Yeah, first day too for June. And something that we're going to be talking about on Monday is the Oxford Economic Survey, which has Melbourne in the top 10 cities to live in the world. And it also has Canberra as the second best city in the world for quality of life. And perhaps if Hervey Bay was a little bit bigger, it might have got on the list.
For sure. I reckon we need to work on that, unquestionably. And with this population growth going on, that can't be that far away, Craig, I reckon.
Yeah, and, you know, when we first spoke some time ago now, I remember we were talking about Hervey Bay has this number one position for the most happiest people in Australia. It's the happiest place in Australia to live.
Yeah, exactly. Twice we won that report too, so it wasn't a fluke. And I don't think anything's changed since then either, other than our population growth. And that is a reflection on why people come to Hervey Bay. It is usually for a change of lifestyle and to enjoy our natural assets, which are beautiful. Like we've got the only north-facing esplanade on the east coast. And because we're protected by Gari, Fraser Island out the front, from the prevailing southeast trade winds, it's a beautiful flat beach. Me and my wife yesterday, we had lunch down at Enzo's on the beach, high tide, and you could be anywhere in the world. The vista in front of you there looking across the emerald waters of Hervey Bay, it's pretty hard to beat. We are very fortunate to be able to live here and enjoy the lifestyle that comes with living on the Fraser Coast.
Yeah, it is a very, very special part of the Fraser Coast for sure. And you had a meeting recently because our friend Simon Kustamahar, he did a report for the Fraser Coast. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, definitely. This is the second time we've had Simon visit Hervey Bay specifically to analyse the demography for Hervey Bay and the Fraser Coast. I did miss his first presentation last year, so I made it a point to attend this year. And it was a fantastic and thought-provoking presentation when Simon breaks down why are we growing and the demography that comes around the people moving into our area. which then allows our decision makers, we have councillors and town planners and real estate people, financiers, will directly hopefully take on board some of Simon's comments. It'll direct the future growth and projection for Hervey Bay as a city, because he does feel that we're at a bit of a tipping point. And when you looked at why people are moving here and the age of those people, some thought needs to go into how we cater for their needs around real estate. And that'll be a critical element going forward for our town planners and also developers.
All right, we are talking to Scott Mitchell there on the Fraser Coast, and we'll talk about some more of the comments that came out of the survey from Simon Kushtamaha. We'll do that next.
Decode the property market with insider knowledge and insights to better navigate your real estate journey on the Real Estate Podcast.
And Penrith is actually offering a lot of, in terms of infrastructures and amenities here as well. The other reason why most buyers from Sydney coming here, they know that the airport is coming as well. It's getting built.
Everybody wants to move to Florida because the weather is beautiful. And what's great here is we still have a lot of land to develop. Yeah, and you're looking at an average about $210 per square foot.
Your kids are most likely in the late 50s or even 60s when you die, statistically speaking, these days. And by then, their own kids, your grandkids, have left the house. They don't need money.
Then at some time in your hold period, it's going to perform really well for you. What we can't anticipate is when that will be. It might be the year after you buy it, or it could be 5 years after you buy it.
Every week, unravel the real estate market to empower your real estate knowledge.
And it is a Saturday morning. As I mentioned, it is the first day of June today. And recently there was the survey, as we were talking about just before the break. Scott Mitchell from Mitchell's Realty, he was talking about some of the findings. And I note, Scott, that the Fraser Coast, as part of the report, it does say that you are facing a huge skills shortage.
One of the biggest challenges we have here is how do we maintain our youth? We've got fantastic schools, like both public sector and private, across Hervey Bay, and great education. We've got the University of Sunshine Coast has a campus here as well. But then once they leave school, the employment opportunities are just really not here at the moment for a lot of those people, unfortunately. We need to really work towards how do we create more employment opportunities to maintain our youth, specifically in Hervey Bay. That's going to be a significant challenge for us going forward. Between 2016 and 2021, we saw our local population here in Hervey Bay specifically grow 10,000 people. But out of that, 70% of those people coming into our area were aged in excess of 65, which does support the fact that we attract the retiree. They themselves will create some construction. We're seeing now we've got a lot of aged retirement, over 50s living lifestyle complexes and developments being built. So that's your tradies getting great employment with that. It's hard to get a tradie still at the moment for a lot of that construction building work. And then obviously the medical sector and health services makes up our largest employer currently for the Hervey Bay. They just still can't get enough people. It's such a diverse field. There's just so many elements within that industry. Where else can we look as a community and as an evolving city to create employment opportunities for our youth, so when they come out of their education, they can stay here and enjoy the lifestyle with us straight away without having to move away for employment opportunities. That's what we really need to see as an important and significant challenge for our area, and hopefully we can work towards coming up with some solutions around that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, if you have a look at the Queensland 85 plus age bracket, that is going to double in the next 12 years, which is pretty significant. And in 7 decades, that report from Simon was suggesting that the Fraser Coast, especially Hervey Bay, could be 3 times the size. So, of course, it's really important to get all of that infrastructural stuff all aligned and ready for all of that expansion in growth. Now, what is happening in terms of, or what has been happening over the last couple of months, Scott? Can you give us a little bit of the feel of Hervey Bay in terms of the property market, what you're seeing, people buying, how many inquiries, the sales, etc.?
Yeah, certainly. We've touched on this a little bit previously. This year, 90% of the buyers we're working with are unquestionably coming in from outside of Hervey Bay. The only trend that we consistently see in Hervey Bay with people that are coming off the larger properties that are half an acre or more, like Dundarren Beach, Craignish, Riverheads, Boral, where you've got acreage, semi-acreage properties, and people get to a stage in their lives where they don't want to or are unable to maintain those properties, mowing the grounds and looking after the gardens, and they've got big houses and maybe the kids have all flown the coop. So they will sell those larger properties and then they're moving into these lifestyle projects, and there are lots of them under construction at the moment in Hervey Bay, and a lot of circumstances you've got to go on a waiting list even to secure one, because as they're being completed, the purchasers are sitting in the wings waiting to move in. So that's obviously an area that needs to continue to be developed across Hervey Bay, because there is unquestionably high demand for those over 50s retirement lifestyle complexes and RV parks. Like, because a lot of these people, they get to the stage where they want to travel the country, become sort of the grey nomad tribe, but still come back to a home base. So those RV style developments have also been really popular, and there's a number of new ones under construction at the moment. I think they'll continue to gain favour for those types of buyers. The interstate migration is still coming in unquestionably into that southeast corner. The Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane markets are all still very strong. Brisbane, particularly in the last few months, I'm hearing has really jumped up another step. Those sellers, though, that are creating the way for those buyers to buy into those markets are selling at a much higher level, and they're taking the money, a lot of them complaining about the congestion and traffic down that way, and they're moving to Hervey Bay. So that's the biggest trend we're still seeing, is that migration from the southeast corner, still selling at a higher value. And some of those are not all retirees, because there are now more employment opportunities expanding around our population growth, predominantly through the development, construction industry and aged care health services. Those employment opportunities are attracting some of those younger buyers as well to move into our area, buying at a lower price point and enjoy the lifestyle you get when you live in Hervey Bay.
All right, so plenty going on in Hervey Bay, Scott. You've always got your finger on the pulse. Nice to hear that update. Enjoy your Saturday, enjoy the weekend, and thanks again for coming on to the Real Estate Breakfast this morning.
No, fantastic, Craig. We appreciate catching up with you guys. And anyone interested in downloading a copy of Simon's report, we have that up on our website. So at mitchellsrealty.com.au, you can go on there, and under our Market Insights tab, they can click on the tab and download a full copy of the of Simon's report with all the tables and comments. That whole event was recorded really professionally. It was done through the Fraser Coast Property Industry Association. So you can download and actually watch that entire presentation as well for those that are interested in watching Simon's presentation on YouTube as well.
Gain insights with exclusive conversations from real estate professionals about buying, selling and investing across Australia. We connect you to the best real estate information across Australia. The Real Estate Podcast.